All of my tours hit Rome in basically 48 hours. I like to begin the first day on the tour to just give everybody a chance to fly in and relax for a little bit, get together mid-afternoon, and then we do a stroll through the Coliseum and the Roman Forum. So this is, as you know, one of the most widely recognized icons of all of Europe, the Coliseum. The Coliseum was built in the period of 8 short years. It was a huge, huge undertaking. When the Coliseum was first constructed, during the first few years, it didn't have a floor on it, and they would flood the entire area down here, and they would have naval battles out here with small ships. That lasted only a few years during the construction, and then after about 3 years, that went out of vogue. You can look and you'll see over here there's just one little section of stones how the seats would have been placed. And you can imagine that all the way around, up for 6 levels. So just like today, the cheap seats were in the nosebleed section, but everyone was entitled to come in here if they were citizens of Rome. For me, one of the great experiences is leaving the Coliseum, which everybody knows what it is, have seen it in movies. If you've been to Rome, you've been there. But leave the Coliseum and you see this grand arch of Constantine. And then you begin walking into the Roman Forum area, and you walk down this road called the Via Sacra, and you realize that, gosh, you're walking on stones that people walked on, that Romans walked on in the 4th century BC. And you actually are in the place of the Roman Republic where Julius Caesar walked. You see several temples. You see the place where Julius Caesar was cremated. This is called the Palatine Hill. It's the hill where all the emperors had their palaces. And so there's successive layers of each emperor's palace, higher and higher and higher. It's one of the 7 hills of Rome as well. Everything is built upon everything here. The Renaissance facade of this church and the church itself was all built inside this Roman temple. See how high the green door is up there? Mm-hmm. So in the 1400s, that was ground level here. So people walked into that church to worship there. Those areas that you're walking through are 2,500 years or more old. And it's just, it's very meaningful. You know what we've left out. The second day, we have to do the Vatican Museum in St. Peter's Cathedral. That pretty much takes 2/3 of the day. Today we're in the Vatican Museum, and we fought the crowds to get inside the door, but actually it's not too bad here. We're going the afternoon, 3 o'clock. It's a crowd-beating strategy to go through here and see everything, the great works of Michelangelo and some of the sculptures from the Greek and Roman era. So let's go take a look around here at the Vatican Museum. The Romans were very familiar with the Greek temples and statuary, so many of them took those statues from the Greek times and copied them. And this is actually a Roman copy done in, I think, the 2nd century AD. At the same time Michelangelo was doing the ceiling, Raphael snuck in there and looked at what Michelangelo was doing and was just like floored at how beautiful it was. And then he was kind of ashamed of the work that he was doing. And he painted this, he did a fresco of this important painting down here called the School of Athens. And so after he had seen Michelangelo's frescoes in the Sistine Chapel, he went in there and put on his fresco Michelangelo in here as well, in honor of him. And this is Michelangelo here brooding here in the foreground. So since it's relatively calm right here, it's best to talk about the Sistine Chapel ceiling here as opposed to while we're standing in there. It's first of all a fresco, so it's plaster, and then Michelangelo stood and he put pigment into the plaster. So if you kind of divide it up into three things, first of all, the central panel down the middle depicts scenes from the Old Testament. And then on the side, there's other panels that depict saints and scholars and prophets throughout the Old Testament. And then the triangles are not religious figures, but soothsayers and prophetesses. As you travel along, I think there are many, many opportunities to see and experience things that maybe you've not done before. But there's always these special moments where it's like, wow, you know. Well, we're ending our tour of the Vatican here at St. Peter's Basilica, the biggest Christian church in the world. Such a great place to end the tour here with the Bernini's altar, the tomb of St. Peter underneath at St. Peter's Cathedral. Seeing the interior of St. Peter's Basilica and realizing how insignificant and small you are in that vast basilica, that's a pretty good wow moment. Then we're left with maybe from mid-afternoon until late in the night to experience the Baroque part of Rome. So I enjoy doing that, walking over, chilling out, experience the Pantheon, maybe get a gelato, and then after that, finding a place for dinner on one of the famous piazzas like Piazza Navona, and you know, have a dining experience. So it's a nice place to have dinner. I usually eat over here at Cafe Bernini. If we can get in there, that'd be great. Let's try that. Well, the older I get, the more I'm embracing the idea of taking a taxi. No matter if I'm in Rome or Paris or London, you know, it's an easy, quick way, and more importantly, it's a stress-free way to get from point A to point B. And I don't mind springing for it because it's always an experience.
Santa Maria Maggiore.
Santa Maria Maggiore?
Sì, sì.
So that's pretty much how we do Rome on all my tours.